Most people think Microsoft Access can look modern. Just take a look at this form. Simply built with round corners. It even gets better with blurred background, all built on Access. Let me prove you wrong. So in this video we are going to create a login form. So let's go ahead and drop our text box for our username and then password. So let's name username, okay, and then the name for this text box, we'll also name it TST user. Now I'm going to duplicate this, okay, so we can rename this for the password. And also the text box, also TST password. Now let's deal with the layout. Let's drop our login button here. We cancel for now. Later we are going to code this. Okay, just changing the font and then the font size. I think I have to go with size 11. Now I have to make the borders of the text box transparent because I'm going to use a button over those text box. I don't want to use the sharp corners of this text box, okay, so I use the buttons as a container, so the button will play the role of the text box, okay. So you know, in Access we don't have this round corner text box, so I intend using button for some of these things, okay. I just have to name it, maybe replace it with something, and then also the borders I make sure I make it solid, but the shape fill I am going to make it transparent, okay. The shape fill I'm going to make it transparent. So transparent is not here, so we go to the property sheet, find transparent, and then make it transparent. So we have to make sure the size of the button elapses the text box, okay. And then the text box borders, we've also set them to transparent, so we don't see the text box, we are going to see the buttons and then the borders of the buttons. Now over here we have to send it back so it stays behind the text box, okay, but it will be visible to your eye because the text box borders are not visible, okay. And then on got focus, I just want to make the border width 2, okay. Just when you select the text box, it sets focus to the text box, okay. Anytime you are focusing on the buttons, it will send the focus to the buttons instead of the text box. So on focus we set the border width to 2, and then when we lost focus we set it back to 1, or we can even make it default, but I want to make it 1. Okay, so we do same for this. We select the text box. Anytime we are focusing on the text box, let's send the we are going to make the borders 2 for that of the password, and then on lost focus we set it to 1. For the login, I'm setting the fill to white, and then also on focus we set the border width of that login button to 2, so it's the width will enlarge a bit. So rename the button so we know exactly what button we are dealing with. So let's code this. So we are basically setting the border width of that button, okay, to 2. We copy this and then paste, and then we change the got focus to lost focus. Yes, and then we change it to 1. So that is it. Just to give it a modern feel or some cool look in terms of the behavior. So there you have it. Anytime we select the text box, the border width of the buttons becomes slightly larger. Okay, so let's align it properly, and there's more work to be done on the form design. So let me align this at the top. Okay, do same for this. Let's see how it looks like now. Okay, so when you select so let's give it a placeholder. Access don't really have like a placeholder thing, so let's use this format and then we give it a string name. Okay, let's do same for password. So we enter password. Okay, now see how it looks like. So anytime we select the text box, the placeholders will vanish. Okay, now let's use some conditional formatting. So when it's on focus, we just change the font color to something lighter. Okay, and also when I think when it's not on focus, or when a field has something in there, so we can say when a field has something and it's greater than 0, when it's greater than 0, then let's change the font color back to something more strong, dark color. So let's see how it looks like. So you know, when you type in, it's like light gray, but just when you lose focus it becomes more dark text. Yeah, so next we have to program the login button. Okay, so it can open a form or something, but before that let me add some user-friendly error labels down there. You'll see error username or password, and then we drop a button too, so that when we click on the button that label vanishes. Okay, so let me copy this button and then paste it down there, and then rename it. I'll rename this to OK. So we name this, and then also rename this to button. Okay. Now let's go ahead and then maybe on hover we'll give it something like red or this color. So now let's modify the login code. Just when we click on it, when we user enters something wrong, it appears. Okay, but before that I have to set the label and then the OK button to invisible. Okay, not visible, and then okay. So we set the label and then the button all to true, and then let's code the OK. So when we click the OK, it turns the label off, and then the OK button itself also off. So mail.the LBL error, we set it to false, and then we send we cannot set the OK button to false by clicking on it, so we have to set focus to something else. So we set the focus to the login. Okay, and then we are able to set the OK button to not visible. So that's how it is done. If you want to do it straightforward, it will not work. So let's enter something. Right now our form is not opening anything. Okay, we just want to show the label, the error label there. Yeah, so we click on OK. It turns the label off, and then the OK button is also off. Now let's create a table for our login form. Okay,